following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including Glenda Carlisle, who'll be telling us all about the Oklahoma Book Awards, which are coming up in March. But first, Pauline Rodriguez has a book that I think you'll all enjoy. Okay. Pauline, you've brought a book called An X to Grind. It's by Jane Heller, but I've got to ask, what X is going to be ground up by Jane Heller?
Well, this story is kind of flipping the traditional sexual equality story on its head, because Melanie is a successful financial planner who has been married to Dan, who was a successful pro football player until he blew out his knee. After that, he kind of didn't do anything. You know, he was happy to sit around the house. So when they split up, Melanie ended up paying Dan alimony.
Oh dear.
And she kind of resents it because she feels like he's living high on the hog and she's scraping by because she's having to send him all her money.
And I'm assuming that she has plans to get out of this problem?
Absolutely. The divorce agreement says that if Dan remarries or lives with someone for 90 days, the alimony stops. Well, he's figured out the part about remarrying. He's not planning on doing that. But Melanie thinks if she can just find somebody that will live with him for 3 months, she's off the hook.
And I suspect that she's going to do everything she can to trail young pretties in front of him.
Oh, she hires a matchmaker. She has a friend who hired a matchmaker to find her a husband, and that worked. So Melanie hires her. The trick is that Dan can't know about the matchmaker. The women he's being matched with can't know that Dan doesn't know about the matchmaker, or they can't know about Melanie.
Oh dear. There's a lot of not knowing in here. Well, I'm assuming that this actually does have a happy ending.
It has a very interesting ending. In the end, Dan does find a woman that he does fall in love with, and all of a sudden he starts turning into the guy that Melanie always thought he could be, and now Melanie is having second thoughts about, does she really want to be rid of Dan?
Now is this when the action really starts?
It's some of the action. The action goes on quite a little bit, and by the way, Dan is from Minco, Oklahoma.
Oh, well, good for him.
He played at OU.
Now, is this, I know a lot of books these days have a fair amount of humor and that sort of thing. Is this part of
Well, of
the
course,
book?
Jane Heller has a lot of humor in her books anyway, and it really just makes some of the things that happen make you laugh hysterically. I laughed out loud a few times reading it, and I can't give away the ending.
Okay, but it sounds like it would be a great holiday read.
It really is.
Okay, thanks, Pauline. We've had Pauline Rodriguez today telling us about Jane Heller's An X to Grind. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore.
I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny.
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Well, Doug Benton is sitting next to me, and I guess this means I get to tell him about something that I have been reading.
Good for you.
Yes.
Good for you.
And as you remarked earlier, it's not science fiction.
Better for you.
Better for me. This is a little book I found in our new book section. I would heartily recommend to anybody who reads regularly that they make sure they go by the new books at the library. This is called The Little Guide to Your Well-Read Life. It is by Steve Levine. You may not know Steve Levine, but you might know Levenger's catalog, the Tools for Serious Readers catalog. You know, they have pens, they have book stands. These days they have incredibly beautiful furniture. At least it looks that way in the catalog. So, but he apparently really is a serious reader. And he wondered for a long time how to become a well-read reader, not just a lover of books, but to actually accomplish something with that. And he said he spent a lot of time talking with other people he knew who had a lot of books and who seemed to read a lot. What impressed him was the number of people who they don't spend all their time reading, but they still manage to read a number of books each year and to more or less be engaged in the world of books. And the result of that is The Little Guide to Your Well-Read Life. It is small. You can read it in one setting. I think there's a little over 100 pages to it. One of the things I like about it, and I'm going to read this, and you'll see why I like it so much. One of the best ways to learn what books are available is by visiting a public library. This seems like such an obvious statement, yet it is surprising how many busy book lovers I've met who have not been in their local libraries for years. Even if you prefer to buy rather than borrow books, libraries are enormously valuable for adding to your list of candidates. While you'll find sections titled New Fiction and New Biography, similar to what you'll see in your neighborhood bookstore, you'll also find books of merit that are no longer in the bookstores. Merely wandering through the stacks and observing categories is an adventure as you take the measure of your interest in subjects you may have forgotten about. A library is a fueling station for your mind. And he also recommends talking to the librarians. They can sort of turn you on to websites that might help you. You know, if you're really into a particular field, there are websites that you can go to that will keep you up on the latest books in an area or that sort of thing. But he talks about creating a library, not necessarily reading every book the minute you get it, but discovering the areas that you want to expand. How do you find the best books in that area? And apparently what he's doing is creating a library that, so if he finds himself without something to read, he's got a whole shelves of books that he hasn't read yet.
Yeah, nothing is more delightful than finding that book you bought a couple of years ago that you hadn't read, and it's there, and it's, wow, yeah.
Right, and wow, and you've got an hour or whatever. He's also really into audiobooks, which I haven't gotten into yet myself, but he said he knew he had really become an audiobook fan when he got to his destination and he sat in his car for about 5 more minutes
to get to the end of the chapter.
To get to the end of the chapter. But if you're interested in really serious reading, check out The Little Guide to Your Well-Read Life. Steve Levine. You can find it at the library and also your favorite bookstore. And they're saying we got to move on. So,
okay.
The Community Reads comes up next. Every year we have teen volunteers help us with summer reading, and we ask some of them to tell us about their favorite books. Jamie Woody will be talking with Heidi Port about a book she really enjoyed.
So Jamie, why don't you tell me a little bit about the second summer of the Sisterhood?
Well, the second summer is a lot deeper than the first, and it really focuses on mother-daughter conflicts that every teenager goes through.
So what are some of the differences in the 2 summers?
Well, the differences are the pants don't fit one of the girls. And so that questions the magical abilities of them.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I bet that's really kind of scary. So what self-discoveries do some of the girls make?
Well, the girls really mature in this book because there are challenges with their parents that they go through, and they kind of have to learn a lot about themselves.
Are the girls all together this summer, or did they?
You know, 2 of them are together and 2 of them are in different places in the country, but they're all in the same country.
So all of these books kind of deal with both friendship and families. What are some of the things that the girls learned about their families this year?
This year they learned to appreciate their families and their mothers, and most importantly, they learned that their mothers do a lot for them and that their actions have consequences to how their moms feel. And they kind of learned that their mothers are the dynamic of their friendship. They brought the friends together.
Now, one of the girls doesn't have a mother, though, does she? So how does that work out?
She went and found her grandmother, and her mother died when they were 11. And so her grandmother kind of steps in and is her mother a role model.
So she kind of learned some about her mother.
She
through
learns about her
family.
mother through her grandmother
Oh, that's
and
neat.
cleaning an attic.
Oh, really? Huh. And I know that the movie came out. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Did you see the
The
movie?
movie is great.
Is it? You enjoyed it?
I actually, when I heard about the books at first, I did not want to read them, and then I saw the movie, and that really sparked interest in the books.
So you didn't read the book last summer
No, I
and
did
then
not.
read the second one?
Yeah,
Oh.
I saw the movie, and then I was like, oh, I'll go read the first book, and then you kind of get hooked.
How interesting. So did the movie just cover the first book, or was it?
The movie was over the first book,
Uh-huh.
and I suspect there might be a second movie coming out.
And do you think there will be a third Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Yes,
or-
I hope so.
Why would you recommend the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Well, I recommend it because it's a book that deals with friendship and a lot of issues that girls go through, and you can learn from the sisters yourself. And I think that it's a book that mothers and daughters should read together because it opens questions for them to talk about and discuss.
Well, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, Jamie, for bringing this
Thank
book to
you.
us. We appreciate it.
With me now is Janet Brooks from the Material Selection Department of the Library System. And Janet, you are here to tell us about some award-winning books.
Yes, the American Library Association just announced their annual awards at the end of January at their annual conference. And today the ones I brought are the Picture Book Awards. 3 different ones, one brand new one and 2 standard ones. The first one is the brand new one. It's Henry and Mudge and the Great Grandpas. And it won the brand new Dr. Seuss Award. It's actually an award given to authors and illustrators who have contributed to the world of beginner readers. As we know, Dr. Seuss has been well known for his Cat in the Hat and things like that, and has really set up a standard for a lot of people to follow for beginner readers. And Cynthia Rylant is the author of the Henry and Mudge series. This is like number 26 or something, so she has contributed quite a bit of literature to this. The second one is The Hello Goodbye Window, which won the Caldecott Award. It was written by Norton Juster and is illustrated by Christopher Roschka. And Christopher Roschka won the Honor Award last year for the Caldecott. His things are quite colorful, quite imaginative, and I think the brightness and the cheerfulness of his drawings kids will really be drawn to. And then the last award is still a fairly new award, but it is an award called the Pura Belpre Illustrator Award. And this award is given to an illustrator who depicts Latino culture in a very positive way. And since we have such a growing population in Oklahoma, I think this is going to be a really important award for us to watch and make sure that we have access to in our libraries. But the winner of this award is the Don Flora. It's written by Pat Mora and illustrated by Raul Colon. And they've paired up a couple of times in the past. Donna Flora is kind of a female Pecos-bill, and she takes care of her friends in the pueblo by making tortillas for them every day. And one day a puma comes and is scaring everyone, and she tries to find this. It sounds like this humongous animal, and she's trying to find it, and she can't. And she finally realizes it's this tiny little puma who is magnifying his voice. But what I really like about this is the illustrations. It's very indicative of the Southwest, soft blues and yellows and browns and everything. And so it just is a beautiful book, and I really recommend it for all cultures, but especially for the people who are trying to find something about their own culture.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Janet. And we need to remind people you can find all of these books and many, many more at your library. Coming up next, we have Doug Benton, who will be talking with Jim Nimmo about some of the CDs that you can check out at your library.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Jim Nimmo today. Jim, thanks for coming back.
Thank you. It's always glad to be here, and it's because of my influential family, I'm sure.
I'm sure that's what it
Makes me
is.
continuously invited.
Can I borrow about $10 for lunch today?
Sure.
Influence stops at a certain point. It's usually money. Jim likes to talk about classical music, and you're the only guy who comes on the show that does talk about classical music these days. And so I'm always pleased to have you here.
I'm one of a kind.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. What CDs have you brought this time?
Well, today I thought a theme of chamber music would be appropriate. I've tried to cover all the aspects of our classical music holdings in the public library. And today's chamber music, I brought the Bach Brandenburg Concertos, Alfred Brendel playing solo piano, and also a different tack on that idea of chamber music. Music played by I Solinisti, that's a small chamber music group that revives the music of the Victorian era and the Edwardians, where live music was very common in the upscale restaurants and nightclubs of that era.
Okay. And that music, too, would be composed by the people we think of as classical composers. Not all of it, but at least the music that's on this disc, isn't that right?
Yes. Chamber music, the accepted definition of chamber music is one player per part. If you look at a modern symphony orchestra, you'll see many, many string players. Well, okay, that's not chamber music. Chamber music is one person playing one part. And generally, it could be as few as 2 people. It could be as many as 9 or 10. It generally stops around 10.
Yeah. I remember reading one time that chamber music was really rather difficult to compose, even though it may look simple because it's just like you say, one person on one part. But there's no place to hide in chamber music. You can't hide behind lush orchestrations.
Right. Each of the parts has to be like a thread in a tapestry, but it has to be simple, but then not too simple. It is very difficult to write, but it's not difficult to listen to. And I thought also somebody just coming to classical music who wants to learn the instruments and who doesn't want to be overwhelmed by a lot of baggage could listen to chamber music and hear each individual instrument and learn the timbre of that sound, and then maybe move on to something else.
Right. Well, of course, the Beethoven piano sonatas are peerless pieces.
Yes.
And I think, would you say the Brandenburg Concertos, if somebody wanted to start a collection from scratch of classical music, that would be, what, the top 5 choices at
we're
least?
talking about the Everest of these genres. With the Brandenburgs, everybody knows the Brandenburgs, or at least parts of them. Sometimes little snippets of them are used as lead-ins to commercials and PBS programs, so they're always cropping up. So if you want to listen to the whole thing, this is your opportunity. People like Baroque music of that era because it has lots of rhythm, lots of drive, and then you can start with Baroque music, then move on to Beethoven, and go on down the timeline.
Okay, Jim, thanks. We're out of time, but I appreciate you coming by. Come again soon, will you?
It's all up to my family.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Doug and Jim. With me now is Glenda Carlisle. She's the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Center for the Book at the Oklahoma Department of Libraries. And you're on several times a year about the Center for the Book and about the Oklahoma Book Awards, which are coming up pretty soon, aren't they?
Which are coming up very soon, and I'm here to tell you who the finalists are. I have to tell you, first of all, that we had 151 books entered, which is a record. About 20 more than what we had last year.
Now, this is, these 151 books were all published last year. They were all either by an author who has an Oklahoma connection or were about Oklahoma, right?
That's right. That's correct.
And you've got several categories. You've got what looks like a very long list there.
A very long list.
Okay.
We actually have 32 finalists. So, you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, with fiction, we have Fields of Gold by Marie Bostic, The Old Buzzard Had It Coming by Donis Casey, The Blackjack Conspiracy, David Kent, The Hot Kid, Elmore Leonard, Tales of the Wide Awake Cafe, Kurt Munson, and To Kingdom Come, Will Thomas. Good list.
Yes, it is. Very good.
In poetry, we have Suffer the Little Voices by Nathan Brown, Evidence of Red, Leanne Howe, and Everything That Is Connected by Judith Tate O'Brien. Then we have Children, Young Adult, The Clabbernackers by Lynn Bailey, Assassin by Anna Myers, Cowboy Camp, Tammy Sauer, Dancing with Elvis, Linda Stevenson, Czar of Alaska, The Cross of Charlemagne by Richard Trout, and Pick of the Litter, Bill Wallace.
Very good.
Yes, some really good books, both in children and in the young adult category. In nonfiction, we have The Worst Hard Time, Timothy Egan, Wanderers Between Two Worlds, German Rebels in the American West, 1830 to 1860, by Douglas Hale, The University of Oklahoma, A History, by David Levy, Hidden Treasures of the American West, Muriel Wright, Angie DeBow, and Alice Marriott, by Patricia Lawson, Palace on the Prairie, The Marlin Family Story, C.D. Northcutt, William Zernigan, and Bob Burke. On the Wild Side, In Search of a Natural Life, David Peterson. The Chuck Wagon Cookbook, Byron Price. Night Draws Near, Iraq's People in the Shadow of America's War, Anthony Shadid. And The Oklahoma Aviation Story by Keith Tolman, Kim Jones, Carl Gregory, and Bill Moore.
That is a lot of finalists for that category.
Well, but I can't remember exactly how many books were in that category, but
That's usually the largest category.
but
isn't
it wasn't this year.
Oh, it wasn't.
Fiction beat nonfiction by one book.
Oh,
And we've never had more fiction books than nonfiction, but this year we had one more fiction book than what we had nonfiction. But there's quite a variety of books in that too.
Yes, there is.
Just goes from natural to a cookbook to Iraq. I mean, just lots of different things in there. Design illustration is a big category. Images of History, the Oklahoma Collection, designed by Jim Argo, Bob Blackburn, and Scott Horton. Mother, Mother, I Want Another, illustrated by John Goodell. Home, Native People in the Southwest, designed by Carol Harrelson. The Fred Jones Jr. Museum of Art at the University of Oklahoma, designed by John Hubbard. Charles Vaudreuil's Country French Living, photography by Jennifer Jordan, book design by Charles Vaudreuil and M.J. Vandeventer. A Western Legacy, the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, photography by Ed Muno, book design by John Hubbard. I is for Idea, an Inventions Alphabet, illustrated by Candy Brzezinski, and Theodore, paintings by Mike Winmer. And that one will end up, I'm sure, being split. That one, the judges have the opportunity to actually give one in design and illustration if they have enough books that warrant it, and they definitely had enough books to warrant it. So I'm sure that they'll give
one for illustration
one
and
for-
one for the design
right.
of the book. Okay.
right.
Okay,
And
and now the winners will be announced at the Book Awards banquet, which will be March 11th, won't
March
it?
11th at the Petroleum Club. It'll start at 6:30 with as many finalists as can come, and usually most of them come. We'll have a book signing and an opportunity to visit with the people that are there from 6:30 to 7:30, and then dinner. And the finalists will be announced at that time. Also, the Lifetime Achievement Award will be given to the Earl Gibson Lifetime Achievement to Bob Burke, and then the one for deceased, the Ellison Award, will be given to John Joseph Matthews and will be accepted by his daughter. So it'll be really quite an interesting evening.
Yes, it will. One of the things I have always enjoyed most about it is the opportunity to talk with a lot of the authors. They are going to be there with their books. You don't have to buy a book to chat with an author. 30 books is quite a few to carry out with you. But they very much enjoy talking with their fans, and it's really kind of neat to get to talk with some people who have affected your life, or even just given you a couple of hours of enjoyment.
That's very true. And earlier that day, on March 11th, we'll be having Bob Burke and Virginia Matthews will be speaking at the Metropolitan Library, downtown library, at 1 o'clock, and they'll be talking about Oklahoma's rich legacy. And of course, Virginia's dad was an Osage Indian writer, and then Bob has written so many books on Oklahomans that'll be a really interesting program also.
Yeah, but we have call it Bob Burke Week here at Read About It. At the end of the year, he comes out about once a month because he writes 4 or 5 books at least every year, and they're usually short biographies of notable Oklahomans, which I'm sure is going to be one day a really valuable resource for anybody looking into Oklahoma history.
Oh, he has really, and some of the ones are famous Oklahomans, but then he's done a lot on people that are not as famous but have contributed to Oklahoma's heritage. He's done a wonderful job on that.
Well, and I always relax when I know Bob is coming out, because I figure I just say, Bob, what did you write about today? And 8 minutes later, it's thanks, Bob.
And Bob will be introduced by former Governor George Nye, and of course he's always very interesting and fun, so that'll be an interesting part of the banquet that night too.
Now, one thing we haven't stressed is you don't have to be an author to come to the banquet. You don't even have to be a member of the Friends of the Oklahoma Center for the Book. It is open to the public, and if they'd like to know more about it, they can go to the website, which is www.odl.state.ok.us/OCB, or they can call you.
They can call me.
This is your number, 522.
Or they can actually go into just punch in Center for the Book, and it'll come up, and you don't have to go through all those numbers.
But there are a number of ways to get the information from you. We're always delighted to have new people come to the banquet.
Right.
And it's just kind of it's at the Petroleum Club, we forgot to mention, so you get a great view of Oklahoma City as well.
That's true, and it really is a really special night. I think anyone who enjoys books or reading and will enjoy it. Plus, it's like you said, a wonderful view and good food.
Yeah, very good food and great authors to talk with. So.
Right.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, Glenda, for being with us. And now you're going to come on after the banquet is over and let us know who won, right? Okay. Thanks very much, Glenda.
Thank you.
We've had Glenda Carlisle from the Oklahoma Center for the Book with us, telling us about the Oklahoma Book Awards.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
It's Writer's Almanac time, and Doug, I'll bet you've got a date for us.
I do. I have an author's birthday, February 13th. 1903 was the birthday of the Belgian mystery and crime writer Georges Simenon, who wrote the Inspector Maigret series, which has been filmed many, many times and made into television series and all sorts of things. The novels are really very short. They're really kind of novelettes, but they're published as novels. It took him about 2 weeks to write one.
Good heavens.
In a very long writing career, Simenon is credited with about 400 of these short novels, not all of which are about Inspector Maigret, but they're very interesting little existential tragedies, and he was a very good writer, you know, given the fact that he wrote so quickly.
Well, I have a date for you, tangentially connected to writing, but February the 12th, 1709, a gentleman, a sailor actually, by the name of Alexander Selkirk, was rescued from Fernandez Island after being there for almost 4 years, and that led to...
Defoe, Robinson Crusoe.
Absolutely, which has entertained children and adults for many, many years. It's also the anniversary of the publication of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, and you can check out all of this, the Georges Simenon, Defoe, Mark Twain, and many, many others at your library.
Right.
You can go to our website at www.metrolibrary.org and find out what we have, and programs as well as books, DVDs, CDs, magazines, and newspapers. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.